Let me ask you something. Before you moved to America, did you have a good credit history back home? Maybe you paid your bills on time, you had a good standing with your bank, you were responsible with money. Maybe you even had a loan or a credit card, and you never missed a single payment. Here is the hard truth that nobody told you when you landed. None of that matters here. Zero. It does not exist. Your credit history from India, Pakistan, Mexico, Nigeria, the Philippines, it does not follow you to America. The day you arrive in the United States, in the eyes of every bank, every landlord, every lender, you are a financial ghost. You have no history, no score, nothing. And I know how frustrating that is because I have been exactly where you are standing right now. But here is what I also know. I went from having absolutely zero credit history to a 700 credit score in just 12 months. And in this video, I am going to show you exactly how I did it, step by step, in the simplest way possible. No complicated finance words, no confusing explanations, just the real, honest truth about how the American credit system works, what mistakes most immigrants make, and what you need to do starting today to build your financial future in this country. So if you are new to America, whether you are a student, a worker, or you just arrived, please watch this entire video, because this information could change your life here. Let us start from the very beginning. What is a credit score? Think of it like a report card, but not for school. It is a report card for how responsible you are with money. It is a number between 300 and 850. The higher the number, the more trustworthy you look to banks, landlords, and lenders. The lower the number, the harder your life in America becomes. And when you first arrive, you do not even have a number. You are what the credit system calls credit invisible. You do not exist in the financial system at all. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? I have money. I work hard. Why does this number matter so much? Let me tell you what happens to immigrants without a credit score in real life. You go to rent an apartment. The landlord checks your credit. He sees nothing. He says no. Or he asks for a deposit of $2,000 or $3,000 up front. You want to buy a car. The dealership checks your credit. They offer you a loan at 22% interest, nearly 4 times what someone with good credit pays. You apply for a regular credit card. Rejected. You try to get a phone plan. The company says no to a contract. You are stuck on expensive prepaid plans. You apply for an apartment again. Rejected again. And nobody explains why. Nobody tells you how to fix it. This is the wall that immigrants hit, and it feels invisible, because nobody warned you it was coming. But here is the truth. This wall has a door, and I am going to show you exactly where it is. First, you need to understand how your credit score is built, because once you understand this, everything else becomes simple. Your credit score is calculated based on 5 things, and these 5 things are not equal. Some matter much more than others. The biggest one, the one that controls 35% of your entire score, is your payment history. This simply means, do you pay your bills on time? Every single month on time? That one habit alone builds more credit than almost anything else you can do. The second biggest factor is something called credit utilization. This controls 30% of your score. Utilization means, how much of your available credit are you using? If your credit card has a limit of $200 and you spend $180 on it, that is 90% utilization. That is terrible for your score. The rule of thumb is, never use more than 30% of your limit. So on a $200 card, keep your spending under $60. The lower the better. Ideal is under 10%. The third factor, 15% of your score, is the length of your credit history. How long have your accounts been open? This is why you should never close your first credit card, even after you get better ones later. That first card is your oldest account. Closing it hurts you. The fourth factor is new credit, about 10% of your score. Every time you apply for a credit card or a loan, the bank does something called a hard inquiry on your credit report. This temporarily lowers your score. So do not apply for 5 credit cards in your first month in America. Apply for 1. Build it, then grow from there. And the fifth factor is credit mix, the remaining 10%. This means having different types of credit, a credit card plus a loan, for example. We will talk about how to add this without it costing you money. Now you know the 5 ingredients of your credit score: payment history, utilization, length of history, new credit, and credit mix. Write these down. They are the foundation of everything. Now let me tell you why immigrants specifically struggle, and the real reasons that nobody ever explains. When you arrive in America, you also need a bank account. You cannot build credit without one. So you go to a bank. And this is where the first shock hits. The bank asks you for a social security number. You do not have one yet. Maybe you are on an F1 student visa. Maybe you just arrived. Maybe you are still waiting. The bank employee looks at you and says, "Sorry, we cannot open an account without an SSN." And you leave, feeling rejected, feeling like the system is working against you. But here is what that bank employee did not tell you, and I say this with full certainty. You do not need a social security number to open a bank account in America. There is something called an ITIN, an individual taxpayer identification number. It is issued by the IRS. Anyone can apply for it regardless of your immigration status. And with an ITIN plus your valid foreign passport, you can open a bank account at several major U.S. banks, including Bank of America, Capital One, SoFi, and others. The reason you got rejected is not because the law says no. The reason is that many bank employees, especially at the front desk, are simply not trained on ITIN rules. They use no SSN as a default answer. If this happens to you, ask to speak with a manager, or better yet, apply online. Online banks like Capital One 360 and SoFi are much more flexible and immigrant-friendly than physical branches. And here is a very important thing I need you to understand. A bank account alone does not build your credit score. This surprised me when I first learned it. You can have $10,000 sitting in a Chase checking account and your credit score will still be 0. The credit bureaus do not track your bank account activity. They only track your credit products, credit cards and loans. So opening a bank account is step 1, but it is not what builds your score. It is the foundation. You need it to do everything else. Now let me walk you through exactly what I did, the actual steps, to go from 0 to 700 in 12 months. Step 1 was getting my ITIN. If you do not have a social security number, this is the very first thing you need to do. You apply through the IRS using a form called W-7. You need a valid reason, usually filing taxes, and your original identity documents. The standard process takes 7 to 11 weeks. There are agents called certified acceptance agents who can speed this up. Once you have your ITIN, you have a key that opens most financial doors in America. Step 2 was opening a free bank account. I chose an online bank, and I specifically looked for one with no monthly fees and no minimum balance requirement. This matters a lot for newcomers. Traditional banks like Chase and Bank of America charge you a monthly fee of $10 to $12 if you do not meet their requirements. That adds up to over $150 a year, just to have a bank account. You can completely avoid this by choosing Capital One 360 or SoFi, which charge absolutely 0 in monthly fees. The average monthly bank fee in America in 2026 is $13.50. That is money you should be keeping. Step 3, and this is where the real credit building starts, was getting a secured credit card. A secured credit card is the single most powerful tool available to an immigrant starting from 0. Here is how it works. You deposit money, usually between $200 and $500, as collateral. That deposit becomes your credit limit. The bank gives you a card. You use the card. You pay it off every month, and the bank reports your good behavior to the credit bureaus. That is how your credit history is created. The best secured cards for immigrants that accept ITIN and have no annual fee include the Discover It Secured, the Citi Secured MasterCard, and the Bank of America Bank AmeriCard Secured. All of them report to all 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, which is essential. Now here is the mistake most people make with their secured card. They deposit $200, they spend $190 on it because they think, this is my own money anyway, and then they wonder why their credit score is not moving. Remember what I said about utilization? Spending $190 on a $200 limit is 95% utilization. That destroys your score. What I did instead, and what worked, was use my secured card for one small recurring charge every month, my phone bill. It was about $15 a month. I set it on auto pay so it paid itself in full every single month. That is it. One small charge, paid automatically, every month. That is the habit that built my foundation. Step 4. After about 3 months, something happens. The credit bureaus calculate your first score. Before this moment, you do not even have a scorable file. You are invisible. But at month 3, you become visible. Your first score will probably be somewhere between 580 and 650. That is a starting line, not a finish line. Step 5, and this is the one that most immigrants never know about, is adding a credit builder loan. This is a special type of loan designed specifically for people with no credit history. Here is the beautiful thing about it. You do not receive the money up front. Instead, the money sits in a savings account. You make small monthly payments, usually $25 to $35 a month, and at the end of the loan term, all of that money is returned to you. Essentially, you pay yourself while building credit. Companies like Self Financial offer this. It adds what is called an installment loan to your credit file, which improves your credit mix and speeds up your score growth. Step 6 is something that became available in 2026 that most people are still not talking about, and it is a complete game changer for immigrants. If you are paying rent every month, and as an immigrant you almost certainly are, that rent payment can now build your credit score. Let me explain this properly because it is important. Until recently, paying rent on time had zero effect on your credit score. The credit bureaus simply did not count it. But with the new Vantage Score 4.0 model, which was approved by the Federal Housing Finance Agency and is now being used by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for mortgages, rent payments, utility payments, and even telecom payments can now count toward your credit score. But here's the catch. It does not happen automatically. You need to sign up with a rent reporting service. Services like Boom, Asusu, or RentTrack will report your monthly rent payment to the credit bureaus. Some of these services cost as little as $3 a month. For someone who is already paying their rent on time every month, which you should be, this is essentially free credit history. This is one of the most powerful and underused tools available to immigrants in 2026. Step 7. By month 12, if you have done these things consistently, paid your secured card on time, kept your utilization low, added a credit builder loan, reported your rent, your score should be in the range of 680 to 720. That is what I achieved. That is what a 700 credit score looks like after 12 months of disciplined, simple habits. And at this point, most secured cards will automatically upgrade you to a regular unsecured card and return your original deposit. So that $200 you put down, you get it back. You built credit for free. Now let me tell you the big mistakes that slow immigrants down, because I see these all the time. Mistake number 1, paying only the minimum payment on your credit card. The minimum payment keeps you out of trouble with the bank, yes, but it leaves a high balance on your card, which means high utilization, which means your score barely moves. Always pay the full statement balance every month. If you cannot pay it in full, you are spending too much on the card. Mistake number 2, applying for multiple credit cards at once. I understand the temptation. You see offers everywhere. But every application creates a hard inquiry on your report. Multiple hard inquiries in a short period damage a young credit file significantly. Start with one secured card. Build it for 6 months. Then consider adding another product. Mistake number 3, closing your first credit card once you get a better one. This is the mistake I almost made. Your first card is your oldest account. The longer your credit history, the better your score. Keep that first card open. Use it occasionally, maybe once every few months, so the bank does not close it for inactivity. Just keep it alive. Mistake number 4, and this is the deepest one, thinking that a bank account is enough. So many immigrants open a bank account, feel proud about it, and then wonder 2 years later why they still cannot rent a decent apartment or get a car loan. The bank account is not the destination, it is the starting line. Credit building is the real work. And mistake number 5, not checking your credit report for errors. This one surprises people. The credit bureaus make mistakes. Wrong names, wrong account information, accounts that are not yours. These errors can hold your score back by 50 to 100 points and you would never know. You are legally entitled to a free credit report from all 3 bureaus every year at annualcreditreport.com. Check it. If something is wrong, dispute it immediately. Now I want to share something with you that goes beyond credit scores and bank accounts, because this is something I had to learn the hard way. The biggest financial mistake that immigrants make in America has nothing to do with credit cards or bank fees. It is this. We start working immediately, but we never start learning how money works here. We come from countries where hard work was enough. Work hard, save some, send some home, survive. And that model made sense where we came from. But in America, hard work alone does not create wealth. What you earn matters less than what you keep, how you invest it, and how the system works in your favor or against you. There are people in this country earning $60,000 a year who are building real wealth. And there are people earning twice that who are broke, because they do not understand the system. Credit score is just the beginning. Once you build a 700 score, doors open. Apartments become easier. Car loans become cheaper. Credit cards start offering you rewards instead of security deposits. And eventually, with time and the right knowledge, you can qualify for a mortgage and own a piece of this country. That journey starts with one secured card, one on-time payment, 1 month at a time. So let me quickly summarize everything for you. Get your ITIN if you do not have an SSN. Open a free bank account. Online banks like SoFi or Capital One 360 are your best options. Apply for a secured credit card that accepts ITIN and reports to all 3 bureaus. Use it for one small charge every month. Pay the full balance automatically. Add a credit builder loan after 3 to 4 months. Sign up for a rent reporting service. Check your credit report every year for errors. And most importantly, be patient and consistent. Your score will not jump overnight. But in 12 months, if you follow these steps, you will have a number that was unimaginable to you on the day you arrived. 700. It is possible. I know because I did it. And if nobody ever sat down and explained all of this to you before today, I am glad you found this video. If this helped you, please share it with someone who just moved to America and needs to hear this. Subscribe because we talk about this kind of real practical immigrant finance every week. And drop a comment below. Where are you from? And where are you in your credit building journey right now? I read every single one. This is your financial life in America. Let us build it right.